Welcome to the first ever NMCC, the Not Minecraft Tournament. We're calling it the Not Minecraft Tournament because this isn't actually an official Minecraft Championship tournament. So we don't really have permission to use the name. That's why we're saying it's not MCC, not the Minecraft Championships. This event will be held on the 1st of July, with the times listed below. It'll just be a friendship group event. We aim to be streaming this on the Silver EVYT channel, and there'll be a few other channels that'll also be going live on either on YouTube or on Twitch. Now, let's get into the team breakdown. These are all the teams. We'll be doing orange, lime, and aqua and pink just because I have the best synergy. Obviously, since we'll be doing 5 MCC Island games, we can't guarantee this. So we'll do our best, but there might be color switching around depending on the games. Alright, so orange ocelots. Red Freezer, also known as Yellow Fridge, is an incredible Minecraft speedrunner. He has set a lot of different records, or has been very close to different records. And you can go check out his channel as well. However, he's not the greatest PvP player, and Archie met the previous night to play some games just for practice and to get to know each other. And we're definitely not the best PvP team. All the while, Ho-Ho is probably our best PvP player. He's a decent PvP player who's really good as an all-rounder. So we'll see how this goes. And unfortunately, Boa is the last seed, last frag in this team. But he is still pretty decent. Even though he has the least Minecraft experience, he's not a bad player and can really excel in games like Hole in the Wall and Sky Battle. As for myself, Silver EVYT, I'm the best at Rocket Spleef Rush. It's my best game, but I'm really open to whatever my team wants as well. I think this is probably the most balanced team because there's no clear first frag, and everyone's sort of in a rough order. I'd say Ho-Ho's probably the first frag if I were to choose one, but it is a very balanced team compared to the other teams that we'll be seeing. For the ideal game order, this is probably not the best meltdown team. Ho-Ho is really good with the bow. Alternatively, everyone else isn't a first-person shooter. Being a FPS player is crucial in meltdown because you'll be really good with the bow, you'll be really good with sniping people. And unfortunately in meltdown, you can't really rely on one person to be carrying you through each and every room. Battlebox is another tricky game. This is probably the worst PvP team, so they definitely want the PvP teams to get out of the way. I think there would be a bit better at Sky Battle, just because there is a more clear-cut plan. As for Rocket Spleef Rush, Silver EVYT is probably one of the best Rocket Spleef Rush players in this tournament. However, neither Red Freezer, Ho-Ho, or Boa are that good with the Elytra and Rocket Spleef Rush. Although it will come with practice, unfortunately MCC Island just doesn't get enough players who play Rocket Spleef Rush. To get to the other side is an interesting game for them. Red Freezer, also known as Yellow Fridge or Samir, is probably one of the best movement players in this event, and can really dominate and to get to the other side. Alternatively, Boa and Silver EVYT are not very good to get to the other side. But Ho-Ho can be. So you've got two good players and probably one of the worst two players to get to the other side. However, it could be helpful if they just follow Samir and then he leads away, and they could get good finishes. That's why I put to get to the other side at 5ths. Hole in the Wall is an interesting game for the Orange Ocelots. I think it's probably the best game for everyone individually except for maybe Silver EVYT, and Red Freezer who might be better to get to the other side. But when we were playing, after a bit of time, everyone sort of got used to it, and then you were seeing Boa finish second, Red Freezer finish second, Silver EVYT finishing third. I think Hole in the Wall could be a really strong game for the Orange Ocelots. And to further add Ace Race, I think Orange Ocelots are probably the best Ace Race team in this event. Samir has so much experience with the Trident. I've got really good experience with the Elytra. And I think with the jump pads, the Trident and the Elytra, it'll be really tricky for the newer players. And I just think with the extra experience, since this is just a well-balanced team, I genuinely think Ho-Ho, Silver EVYT, and Samir could all finish in the top 5 for Ace Race, maybe behind Saber and Penguins or ET, if you think he'll do that well in Ace Race. But I think Ace Race could be a really strong event, especially for Ho-Ho, Silver EVYT, and Samir. Now, I put Sands of Time as the best game and most ideal game to go 8s for the Orange Ocelots. I think team games are where Orange shines. I think that this is definitely the best game for them. Sands of Time is a tricky and complex game. And if you don't have good teamwork, then you won't do well in Sands of Time. Even though these teammates are unfamiliar with each other, they're doing the training, they're getting to know each other. They've even scheduled a bowling session. I generally think that this team will win Sands of Time. And I think if Sands of Time is 8, Orange Ocelots have a decent chance of making it to Dodgeball. Now we move on to the Lime Llamas, where we have Oscar, Cuckoo TM, Levi, Big Jeans, ET in It's ET Gaming, and George with Soundwave Knight. This is an interesting team. I also think this is another balanced team with maybe a clear fourth frag in Oscar, who may not be the best. His Minecraft ball knowledge is pretty good, but definitely not one of the best in the terms of skill. I think first frag is sort of up for grabs. I think It's ET Gaming slightly edges George Soundwave Knight out. I just think he could be more catastrophic for the other teams. I think he's probably the one to watch out for in this team. If ET has a good event, then this team could easily finish first overall. However, alternatively, if ET doesn't show up and George doesn't show up, then this is probably a clear fourth place team. So this team is sort of reliant on the two players of George and ET to sort of show up for the event. And if they do okay, then I think this could be a Dodgeball team. For the ideal team order, I think they want Rockets Play Rush gone first. This is not a good Rockets Play Rush team. Rockets Play Rush is a hard game for newbies. I think Oscar will struggle. I also think Jeans Levi is not the best with the Elytra. And that's the same with ET as well. I think they're more PvP oriented players without the Elytra. And I think Soundwave could be the best player in Split Rush, but I don't know if he's that good compared to the other top players in Pink, Aqua, and even just the average players in Orange who could do pretty well in Rocket Split Rush. That further adds, I don't think this is a good movement team. I think this is a very strong PvP team, but I don't think this is a good movement team. That's why I don't think they'll be good to get to the other side. I don't think, or I don't believe there's any speed ridges on this team. I think every other team has a contender for someone to speed bridge. I don't believe that on this team. I think they'll be heavily reliant on other teams to try and get to the area where they are. I also believe that this is not the best parkour team. I don't think Levi and Oscar will be excelling at any parkour in this event. And I think to get to the other side could pose a real issue. Similarly, Ace Race is also one of those games where it's really hard for new players. This team has had no communication whatsoever of doing any training sessions. If they don't get familiar with the jump pads in Ace Race and Tridents and Elytras, all 4 of them could finish bottom, which would be a shock, but ET could challenge for first as well. I do believe that Oscar is probably the second favourite to finish bottom in Ace Race. It's just a very hard game, and I think they want to get it out of the way. I don't think they have that many players that are really strong. Even though this is a good, solid team, I don't believe Levi and Oscar to have the experience needed to excel in Ace Race. I think George and ET will do okay. I think ET could possibly challenge for top 5. But I don't think this is a good Ace Race team. Either way, Hole in the Wall. Hole in the Wall is an interesting game. I was going back and forth between Hole in the Wall and Sands of Time for this team. But I think Hole in the Wall might just be a little harder, considering I think each team could be really good at Hole in the Wall. I think Aqua could do okay. I think Purple will do really well. And I think Orange will also do really well. Therefore, that leads me to believe that Hole in the Wall will be a fine game for Lime. It'll be fine. They'll do okay. They'll probably finish second or third. But I don't see them having any star players that could help them get to a higher position. I think ET will do okay, but it's sort of the game where all average players can do well in the Hole in the Wall. And if you just have the people that are inexperienced, like the Oscar, who maybe haven't played Hole in the Wall, this could pose a real issue. If you just play a few games of Hole in the Wall, you get to know it, then you'll be good. But I don't see them, this team especially, I don't see any communication of them training. That's why Sands of the Time could be an issue. I do think that the reason why Sands of the Time is this high is because of the synergy between Levi and ET. They're pretty close mates. They'll do pretty well. And I think George will do pretty good at understanding of Sands of Time. The one issue is, though, if they have Oscar as Sandkeeper, this could be the worst game for them. If they don't, then I think they'll do pretty well at Sands of Time. I think this will be a good game for them. I definitely see them at least getting third in Sands of Time, because there's one clear worst team at Sands of Time. But yeah, this is a decent team for a solid, well-averaged team with no star players. Sands of Time will be a good one. Now, next up, Battle Box. I said earlier, I think Lime is the best PvP team in this event. ET, George, and Levi, they're all good PvP players. Oscar, not so much. But in Battle Box, it can help. Oscar can just spam arrows at them. Well, while he whittles away damage, and ET, Levi, and George, they can just clear up. I think that this could be a good team. What I'd be wary of is maybe this team could get overwhelmed by Purple, who might be a better Battle Box team. But this is still a decent Battle Box team. Now, why I put Meltdown this high? This team has a lot of Valorant players. And if you're good at Valorant, you'll be good at Meltdown. ET plays Valorant a lot. I think he'll be very good. I also think Levi plays Valorant. He'll be very good at Meltdown. I think with these average players just being good with the bow, it'll help this team a lot. And I generally think that this could be a contender to win Meltdown. Not the strongest team, but one of the strongest team. Now, the best game, Sky Battle. Sky Battle's probably the best game for them. They're a good PvP team, and Sky Battle, you need a little luck. This team can get luck, because Oscar can just spam bows, spam arrows, and he can shoot people off bridges. Well, ET, Levi, and George, they can do the close range attacks. I can also see this team being a bit more aggressive than Sky Battle, because I can imagine there's going to be quite a few passive teams. So I think if they go aggressive at the start, they can probably catch a few teams unguarded, get some good loot, and then they can probably clean up in the middle fight. Aqua Axolotls. This is probably the most unbalanced team in this event. Saber is one of the best Minecraft players in Australia, and he'll be definitely trying his best to win and come individually first. He's just incredible on PvP and especially movement. He's arguably better at movement games than he is at PvP games, and his ability to speed bridge will help all of these players on this team. Other than Saber, this is not a strong team. The other Zach for Super Stewie, Alex for Tuck Freak, and Water Pumpkin Zay are not the greatest individual players. However, on a team with such a great player as in Saber, they could meld and they could do a bit more. I can imagine this team could also be a contender for Dodgeball. I actually think all teams could be. It's a really hard one to call. But for the games, they definitely want Meltdown out of the way. Saber is not a first-person shooter game player. And neither of these newcomers will be very good with the bow. They won't understand its mechanics, and they probably won't be able to shoot down other players. I think that Meltdown is probably by far their worst game, and maybe other Sands of Time, and then they could be okay on the others, but Meltdown's a really bad team game for them. In general, team games are pretty bad, as I put Sands of Time as the second worst. I think this is a bad Sands of Time team, because I see Alex, Zay, and the other Zach all being Sandkeepers, which could be a bit of an issue. In addition, I don't think Saber will be able to run it all by himself. He won't be able to get enough sand, he won't be able to stay there long enough to get enough coins. I think this could be a big issue for this team. I think they want Sands of Time to be played early, and probably in the first 2 games. Ace Race. I think Aqua have the best Ace Race player in their team. I think Saber is probably the best Ace Race player. Alternatively, they could have the worst 3 Ace Race players. I don't think Alex or Zay know how to use the Trident or Elytra. I think the other Zach understands the concept, but hasn't had much practice. I don't think these 3 will finish. I think Saber will finish. I don't think the other 3 will finish. Therefore, their team score will be pretty low. Hole in the Wall is their 4th game. I think they'll be okay at Hole in the Wall, because after the first round, I think the newer players will understand the concept, and I think they'll get better. They'll get better, they won't be the best team, but they'll get better and they'll improve. Sky Battle. Sky Battle is a good game. I think this is an okay PvP team, as long as Saber gets the opportunity to shine. I think Sky Battle is a good game for them, because Saber can speed bridge across, and then the other players can just follow and then try and shoot people off bridges. The only worry for them is if Saber falls early, this team can't do anything. I don't think this team has capability to succeed without Saber. And if Saber's not here for the event or has to drop out due to illness, then this team could struggle a lot with the PvP games, where otherwise they could have succeeded. And Battlebox is an interesting game. I think Battlebox, Saber has more capability to be able to kill the other players. I think if he chooses like a prankster kit with invisibility, the world is his. He could do so much damage. I think Saber can probably 1v4 at least Orange and possibly Lime. Saber is just that good that I think he can carry this team in Battlebox to a respectable 2nd or 3rd place finish. Rocket Spleef Rush. This is probably one of Saber's best games. To get to the other side is his best game by far. But I think Saber is probably in contention for being the best or second best Rocket Spleef Rush player, in front of or behind Silver EVYT. I think he'll do okay, and if he teaches the tricks and tips for the Elytra and such to his teammates, then his teammates might be okay as well. I think many people will be bad at Rocket Spleef Rush, especially the lower ranked players on each team that don't have understanding of it. Therefore, I think they might be able to just survive long enough to surpass a few of the other players in Lime and maybe in Purple. So I think Rocket Spleef Rush could be a decent game for Aqua. Now, Aqua's best game, to get to the other side. Arguably, Saber could be one of the best to get to the other side players of all time. We played a bit a couple nights ago and he was just dominating. First or second, every single game. He was so good. And he's just really quick with the chicken whack as well. I think Saber could dominate to get to the other side, and his teammates, if it's a bridging game, his teammates can just follow him, and they can do really well as well. So I think to get to the other side is by far Aqua's best game, and probably their best way into Dodgeball. Pink Parrots. The final team is Pink Parrots, consisting of Super Cal, Penguin, Jake the Great, and Yuri. Super Cal is an interesting player. He doesn't play a lot, but when he plays, he's very good. He's decent at PvP, and Penguin's pretty good at PvP. But the other two players, Jake and Yuri, I'm not too sure. They might do okay, but I don't think they'll excel at PvP games. Penguin arguably is probably a contender to finish first place as well. I think Penguin could challenge Saber, and if this team do well, then I think Pink could possibly finish top with a large amount of points. But we'll see. It's a very even event, so it'll be hard to. For the ideal game order, I think they want Ace Race gone first. I don't think this is a good movement team. I don't think Super Cal, Jake, or Yuri will be good, particularly good at Ace Race. I think Penguins will be good. I don't think the other two will be good. I think Ace Race is a hard game, especially for these players who may not be comfortable with using the Trident or Elytra. So I think it's a difficulty for them. To get to the other side, again, this is probably not the best movement team. I think Penguin might be able to speed Ridge, but the other people won't be able to. I think Super Cal, Jake, and Yuri will all struggle with movement-based games with just a parkour and the level required to try and get above the other teammates. I think Super Cal might be the second best, but we'll see. I think Sky Battle also is another bad game for them. This is an okay PvP team, but the issue is I don't really see them possibly trying to take down the other teams or be as aggressive. If they do be more aggressive, then this team could be okay. But the issue is they're also pretty reliant on Penguins to do a lot of the PvPing, and then if Penguins falls, Super Cow has to step in. Rocket Spleef Rush is an interesting game. I don't think this team will be great at it, but I think they'll be good at it. I think Penguins and Super Cow will be pretty good with Rocket Spleef Rush, and I think Yuri could surprise a lot of people with the Elytra mode as well. Battlebox is an interesting game. I think this team is good at PvP. I think they could do really well in Battlebox. I think they could probably contend with Lime to finish first. This team is just really strong, I think, in general. There are two clear bottom players on this team. One mid and one good player. I think if Super Cow and Penguins work together and are able to create synergy, then this team will be good. Alternatively, they haven't really had much team practice. Hole in the Wall. I think Hole in the Wall will be a good game. I've played Hole in the Wall with Jake and Super Cow before. I think it's a good game for them. They're decent at hole in the wall. They'll do fine. They're about my level, which means they'll do pretty well. Sands of Time is an interesting game. I think this team could be very good at Sands of Time. I think if Jake or Yuri takes a Sandkeeper role, then I think they can do really well. I think Super Cow and Penguins could do really well at finding vaults, and Penguins is a leader. He will do well at guiding this team to victory. Meltdown. This is probably the best Meltdown team. Why I'm saying this is Jake and Yuri, their typical lower place players, will do extremely well in Meltdown. I think both of them are really good with the bow. And I think they could dominate the competition. If Penguins is decent at the bow, because I think he's pretty good regularly in PvP, then he'll do well in Meltdown as well. And I think Super Cal could be really good with the bow too. This is by far the best Meltdown team. And I think Meltdown being last, if they have Meltdown and Sands of Time in their final two games, I think Pink Parrots could clinch a dodgeball position. Alright, this is my predictions for the first place. So this is out of likelihood. Fifth most likely to get first, I did Super Cow. Now this is an interesting one. I have a feeling that Pink could do well. A lot of players, Saber, Ho-Ho, Samir, they're saying that Lime is probably one of the favorites. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on Pink. I think Pink could surprise a few people. And I think if Penguins does okay, but doesn't step up as much, then I think Super Cow can step up, and I think he could be a contender for first place. Now, Ho-Ho is an interesting one. Orange don't really have any star players. But if they do get Dodgeball, and they do it by quite convincingly, if they finish first quite convincingly, then I think Ho-Ho Bogo is the most likely out of that team to finish first. I think this is a generally well-averaged team, and I don't think anyone has a strong chance of finishing first. But I think Ho-Ho Bogo is slightly more likely out of everyone else to finish first in this event. Third, it's EG Gaming. Similarly, if Lime dominate the event, is EG Gaming will probably finish first. But I see it being a close event, therefore I don't see it's EG Gaming doing crazy good. I think he'll do good. I think he'll probably finish in the top 5 either way, but I don't see ET winning the event unless Lime do pretty well. If they finish first, then he might be the reason why, and he might finish first individually. Second, I went with Penguin. I think Penguin is an interesting player. I think he's very good. I think he's being slept on. He won the last year we did a live series event. He won it. I think he could probably be a contender with Saber to win. And to be honest, doing practice with Saber, I think he was probably my favorite to finish first. But it does beg the question, who's first? It is Saber. I was probably going to put Saber as second most likely to finish first until I played with him the other day. He is that good. He can turn games just like a click of a finger. He's incredible. I think Okra are lucky to have him. Either way, wherever Okra finish, I think Saber had a really strong chance to finish first. The only way I don't see Saber finishing first overall, if Meltdown, Sands of Time, and maybe another team game such as Sky Battle are played as 6, 7s, and 8s. I don't think they'll be really good at the team games. That is the team breakdown for this not MCC. And I can't wait to see you all in the chat on July 1st, 2 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time, or 5 AM BST.